Okay, back. What you missed? You missed me gluing in the window and fixing that little divot there. The window I used was that plastic fencing stuff. It's kind of handy. You can make all kinds of stuff with it. Here's a cage that I'm making. It's going to be a prison. Anyways, I have a hard time staying under the 10 minutes because I always go off on tangents like that. The best glue for doing this stuff, weld bond. White glue works just, well, no, it doesn't work just as well, but this is dang good glue. Good glue. It's the one I use all the time, just because then I never have to worry about it falling apart anymore. I've lost a few customers over the years building stuff with, trying to use different types of glues. Weld bond will always work. The longer it sits, the harder it gets. It'll dry clear. You can make streams and water effects using this stuff. It's really good. You can actually use it for making decals. Like take a picture in a magazine, and you coat it with thin layers of this stuff. You have to let it dry in between each layer, and you have to use about 10 or 15 layers. But then after you soak it in water, and you can peel the paper off the back and the ink will stick to this, and then you take that and you stick it on your piece. You can make neat decals. Anyways, if you buy a big jug of it, it gives you all the instructions for that stuff. Okay? So as you can see, I'm just gluing it together and sticking it on that piece of hardboard that we had cut off. Okay? Now, don't worry about the gap in the crack there, because we're going to fill that after with something else. Okay, and this actually has to harden. Just going to put one other piece right here just to kind of fill off the room. Okay, now on this piece here, which you didn't see me cut the bricks on, I'm going to show you the little piece there. Okay, see along the edges of the break here, I cut in usually 1/2 inch to 1/4 inch, and I make that into a brick effect. It just kind of makes the building, looks better. I can see I forgot on this one piece, which I'll have to do later, but give me a minute here, glue this on. Once this dries, our next step is what I call gooping it, okay? So I'll show you how to make the goop here next. Alright? So there's going to be our little burnt out building piece. Okay, it's about, I don't know, what is that, 6 inches by 6 inches. Okay, back again, working on this little house that we were working on before. I'm going to put some little rafters on it. I just use little scrap pieces of wood. I like 1/4 inch pieces of wood. I use 1/4 inch for a lot. I just run them off a 2x4 on a table saw. They're also, about the same size as chopsticks. Okay, for instance, I don't know, can you see this little catapult that I built? That's just 1/4 inch and made out of, those cheap chopsticks that you separate in the restaurant. The spring is string. It's kind of cool. See, I made another little one too. This is one of those, what do they call it, ballistas. Boink. Anyways, 1/4 inch. Most of these buildings have sort of a center beam on them, so I usually put a center beam on them. If you're into Warhammer and stuff, I guess they don't really have a heck of a lot of wood there, but I think there'd still be some around. It would just be sort of petrified and old gray type stuff, so that's usually the kind I use. That way you can use it in World War II scenes too. So I'm just cutting a notch in the top here to accommodate the beam. Perfect. Weld bond. Again, white glue works. There's all different types of companies that make, plain white wood glue. I like weld bond because it just has more uses. Plus it seems to be a stronger glue. They all dry about the same amount of time. I'm going to put on some partial beams on this thing here too. Now I've actually already pre-cut these at an angle just so that they'll fit against the beam better. I use these little X-Acto razor saws, very handy things. If you can find one of these little miter boxes, they work really good. But hacksaw blades work really good. You know, a broken hacksaw blade, I make all kinds of tools out of hacksaw blades. I put the glue on the wrong side. Sometimes I like to pre-paint these because of what I just did, putting the glue on the wrong side. The glue then won't, the piece of wood won't take a stain or a wash very good then. And I like to use acrylic washes and stuff with a lot of my stuff, just so that it you know, it looks nicer than paint. I guess I'm not a very good painter when it comes to stuff like this. Can you see what I'm doing there? Okay, I'm going to have another one just kind of off to the side here. Like right about there. And then while this stuff is drying, I'm going to show you how I make my coating mix. Because you have to coat the styrofoam